Welcome to Truth Xpose TV. It is with great pleasure today that I introduce our wonderful guest, and very exciting. This lady has been involved with the development program for a program that has been in prisons around the world, and amazing peace education program that's been used in prisons. And in fact, it's the program that was used in a documentary called Inside Peace, which is a full-length documentary that focuses on three compelling characters who were incarcerated at Dominguez State Jail in San Antonio, Texas. And that movie will be launched at the Gold Coast Arts Centre for the Queensland launch tomorrow. And I know there's only a few seats left for sale. It looks like it's going to be a full house tomorrow. And our beautiful guest, Catherine Gavigan, welcome, is our MC tomorrow night. Hello, Catherine.
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining us. I can't wait to see this documentary. I think it will be absolutely fantastic. So could you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and how you got involved with this program?
Yeah, so because I work in education, and in particular the design and facilitation of education programs, my skills were, I guess, out there in terms of being able to do this work. And the Prem Rawat Foundation had a request, who designed the program and took responsibility for it, had a request from a correctional facility in South Africa. And they wanted a curriculum, a program that had a curriculum that could go for a certain number of weeks and would then be available across the world. So as a result of my skills, I got invited to be part of this program, in the development of the program, and we started in 2012, and we have developed Peace Education Program 1, Peace Education Program 2, and we're just about to launch Peace Education Program 3. So it's been an exciting journey.
Wow, that sounds fantastic. And I know that the prisons are pretty much in Australia, they're overflowing. We have just too many prisoners and not enough prisons from what I understand. So it is a growing issue, I think, where, you know, a lot of people are ending up in prison and you know, and maybe, you know, the problem is it stems from maybe very low self-esteem or family issues, or, you know, what have you discovered with this program that is a common theme amongst prisoners, and how is this Inside Peace program helping them?
Well, I think that the program is very useful because it allows inmates to choose to do it, and it's a choice, always a choice situation. It allows them just to listen about their inner resources that they already have, like peace, like appreciation, like hope, like inner strength. So the program is focusing on talking to them about what they do have rather than what they don't have. And I'm sure if you were a person in jail, you would feel that there is a lot that you don't have. So to start hearing about what you do have, I think is really encouraging. And when I've sat in on the Peace Education program in correctional facilities, and I've done so in New Zealand and Australia, I am amazed at the focus from people who are watching this program, the encouragement that they have always given me about continuing to get more material. And it's been really inspiring being with those people who are running the program, and also those people who are doing the program.
Oh, fantastic. And you're actually the director of the National Centre for Training and Development. How long have you been doing that
now? The National Centre started in 1996, and our focus in the beginning was on youth programs. We ran a program called Super Camp for Kids, which again was a program around personal development, outdoor challenge, looking after your physical well-being, and improving your study skills. So as a result of that, I moved on and started working in international education. I've worked in the university sector. So my background in design and facilitation is very broad. I feel comfortable working with a little group of pre-primary students, and I feel equally as comfortable working with university lecturers.
Oh, fantastic. So this Inside Peace program, can you maybe pull that apart a little bit for us and explain exactly how the process works with the prisoners?
So what happens is that the program is very easy to facilitate because it's video based. So what we did when we were pulling the program together was we pulled together all the different, firstly, themes that we thought would be interesting to people. So we've got 10 themes. We've got some of which are choice, inner strength, appreciation, hope, dignity. And then we trawled through the international talks by Prem Rawat, who's been talking about peace and appreciation and inner strength for many years now. We trawled through his material, and then we attached his material to the different modules. So in an hour, what a person would get who's doing the program, and by the way, the program is also for anybody who wants to do a little bit of, I guess, further personal development about what resources they already have. It's for everybody. Our focus at the moment is on prisoners because Inside Peace is being launched, and that tells the story of people in correctional facilities in the United States who actually did the program whilst they were in jail. But often inmates, in fact, last week when I was at a prison, one of the guys came up and said, look, I'm going to be released. I want to continue doing this program. How can I do it? And I just said, look, it's available in communities. And so just stay tuned to the website and you can keep listening. So I guess the idea is that when you listen about something that is fundamental, like your own personal peace or your own inner strength or your own appreciation of your life, it either rings true and reverberates with you or not. And the group of prisoners who choose to do this, it seems to reverberate with them, and it's like, okay, they draw from it a strength that enables them to take another step.
Oh, that's fantastic. They sound like some brilliant principles there, and really, you know, glass half full as opposed to glass half empty type principles, which is fantastic. And you're actually part of the development team that has put this together, and it's a peace education program. It was launched in 2012. It's been translated into 35 languages and in 70 countries, which is absolutely fantastic. And as you said, it does work on developing the inner resources, and they're really skills and traits, I guess, that they could use in any area of their life. In fact, I would say people outside of prisons could really use a lot of those skills actually as well. So I think it is something that would be great on a mass scale, not just in prisons. Is there any?
Well, it's interesting that you should say that, because I did a peace education briefing in Sydney a couple of weeks ago. So as a result of the movie, what we offer is what we call peace education program briefings, where people from organisations or individuals can come to the briefing and look at the program, look at the content of the program, get a feel for the program, and work out whether or not they could use this program either in their work or in another situation. And I was amazed that so many of the participants said, look, this is something that I want to watch first because I feel I would benefit from it a lot, and I definitely want to take it into wherever I work. And that was a whole variety of people from youth organisations through to the corporate world.
Well, it's interesting how many people in business talk about how they hire people on attitude, and really these kind of principles you're teaching people is basically a way of doing life. You know, having appreciation and having that kind of self-worth would, you know, totally transform your life. They say that negative people repel people and positive people attract people. So the more positive you can become and the more you can be grateful for what you have, the more things will come your way to be grateful for. So what are some of the issues? Now, this is now in 300 correctional facilities worldwide. This is currently being used, which is fantastic. We're being facilitated, and it's in Australia and New Zealand, which is amazing. So what are some of the common things that you're finding, some of maybe the challenges that people are having with this program or with actually bringing it into their life?
Well, because when we designed it, and it's video-based, it's very easy to facilitate, and it has a number of elements to it. It has a listening element to it. Then it has a very reflective element where there's a time in the program where where people can just say, okay, well, what does this mean in my life? I've just heard something about inner resources, or I've just heard something about hope. I've just heard something about choices. How can I use that in my own life? So actually, it has been very simple to facilitate, because it's very easy to press the button, and then it's very easy for people, when they feel comfortable, and that usually happens after maybe 3 sessions, to maybe share something about how they're able to translate what they've heard into action. So I haven't had a lot of comments yet about it being difficult to facilitate. The main thing I feel is that anybody who facilitates this program also needs to have a feeling for this kind of material. As a designer of programs, it's very difficult for me to facilitate a program that I have not designed myself. So I usually like, if a client comes to me and says, look, I'd like you to do a program on communication, I usually start from the ground up, and I say, okay, let me see, well, what is your situation, and then design a program for that. So I think in the case of the Peace Education program, it's already done. So facilitators who are about to facilitate it need to have some feeling for that inner realm, that they're open to working with any kind of person, be it in their work or in a facility or whatever, and appreciate that there are other resources a person has. Maybe in their lives, say for some prisoners, they had a really bad start. As a person who's taught in a primary school, there have been children in my classes that I'd have to say did not have a good start. People aren't born equal in one way. They're born into families that maybe can't look after them. And therefore the start they get is not the start that, say, someone like I got, and where I came from a farming family where we were always well looked after. My mother always cooked. We always had food. We always had warmth. We always had not only nourishment for the body, but also nourishment for the heart. Not everybody gets that. And so it's important when we're working with people who haven't had that to also allow them to see that they did start with something, and that they can now build that, even if their lives before they came to the program and started hearing about inner resources maybe was not ideal. So I think firstly there's a recognition that not everybody got the parenting that they needed. However, going forward, you still have something that you can draw on. And that's what that program, that Peace Education program, is talking about. And tomorrow night, we'll see that on the movie as well. People who didn't get the start that they needed, but drew from the strength of the Peace Education program to try and make a better fist of their lives when they got out and started moving forward on the outside. And, you know, it wasn't easy, and it never is. You know, once you've been in prison, you're targeted, you don't have the same opportunities, and so it's pushing things uphill. So you need that inner resource, you need that grit. Reading a great book at the moment called Grit. We all have grit. It's just whether or not we decide to harness it and move forward. Well, we all have inner resources. We all have peace. We all have self-understanding. We all have inner strength. How much do we know about harnessing that? And that, to me, is what the program's about.
Fantastic. I think half the thing, too, is actually getting conscious where you've been unconscious. You know, a lot of people kind of operate in life like on a treadmill, and they don't actually see the way that they're coming across, or stop for a moment and think about what they're actually thinking, you know, or how they're doing life. So I think it sounds like, you know, half of it is actually just getting conscious of, you know, what you're putting out there or what's going on inside you.
Yes.
And how you can make the most of life you know, regardless of whatever's going on, because, you know, life is really a roller coaster ride. And
Yes.
you know, I've personally done a lot of personal development work, and, you know, I used to hold on to things. If I'd be upset about something, I'd hold on to things for months at a time and take things very much to heart. And nowadays, you know, when life throws me curveballs, I just think, okay, well, what can I, you know, I kind of expect it now. I expect that at any moment life can throw me a curveball and something unexpected will happen. And how am I going to be in that moment? You know, I can either choose to dwell on that drama and make a big hoo-ha about it, and actually, you know, have it eat away at me, or I can choose to do something positive and look for the lessons in whatever is coming my way, which is how I choose to do life now. And I think the quicker we can get at that in life, at actually dealing with life challenges, I think the more fulfilling our experience will be on the planet. So the film Inside Peace, it dealt with 3 characters, and we've got the Queensland launch tomorrow. I believe there's only about 20 tickets or so left for anyone that wants to buy a ticket at the Gold Coast Arts Centre. Just Google Inside Peace. I know there's a Facebook page too, Inside Peace Gold Coast, for anyone who does want to come along. And you're actually leading a panel there tomorrow night. You're emceeing and leading a panel. So can you explain a bit about, we've got some amazing panel members coming on board and what you're going to be chatting about tomorrow night?
So we have got some amazing panel members. We've got Lynne Walston, who works at Lynne McNairn, who works at Walston Correctional Facility, and she's been running the program. We've got Corey Allen, who's a police officer and is working in a whole variety of different contexts. We've also got Judy Atkinson, who's done a lot of work with Indigenous people, very experienced. And we've got Judy Spence, who was Corrections Minister at one point here in Queensland. And we've also got Lana Sandas, who heads up rehabilitation and reintegration at SERCO, at some of the SERCO facilities. So we've got a lot of experienced people who also, from talking to them, have a lot of compassion. And I think that's one of the things that you need when you're working in environments where you've got prisoners or you've got disadvantaged people. You need to be able to draw on your compassion itself, because not everybody, as I said, starts off with the opportunities that, as I said, maybe I had. So where are they now is often a result of what happened in their younger life and how they weren't looked after. So it's a matter of saying, okay, from a point of compassion, how can I help that person? Not feeling sorry for them so much, but how can I share with them what would be useful? And so I believe the panel is very experienced in their work in having done that over many years. And so I'm really looking forward to just hearing from them on simple things about what they've done, what's worked. I'm looking forward to hearing from Lynne, who's been running the program in Walston, and hear her comments on what effect it's had on the group of inmates she's been working with. And the other exciting thing is that we've just finished a Inside Peace teacher's resource, a teacher's guide, and that's going to be available at the beginning of August. And so schools can use the movie and the teacher's guide to maybe work with young people in a whole variety of different curriculum areas and look at these different elements of the film and maybe look at their own lives and being more conscious in their own lives. One of the people in the film, there was a comment for him saying one moment of unconsciousness or one moment of consciousness can save a lifetime of heartache. And so just helping young people to be more conscious of their actions so that they don't end up in situations and very unhappily having to deal with just poor decisions. A lot of poor decisions by young people also are a result of they just don't know. They just don't know what will happen as a result of some of the actions that they take. And so we're hoping that that resource will be available to young people and a whole variety of different sectors so that they can learn from people who obviously in the film have learned a different way to be.
Fantastic. And this peace class or program, it's one of the few self-improvement programs offered in prisons across the country that are not faith-based, which is interesting. So what sort of other programs are out there that are faith-based, and how is this also different to, say, faith-based peace programs?
So I think what's offered in prisons is a whole variety, just from my limited understanding of what else is offered. So people in prison get the choice of programs, I guess, around drug and alcohol abuse, domestic violence programs. They're able to connect with some religious programs, other personal development programs. I think that the peace education program sits really nicely alongside pretty much anything, because it's about you. It's about how you can feel a little bit different by just knowing about those inner resources and then building those inner resources. So I think it sits nicely alongside anything that's offering. And one of the things I've noticed with working in correctional facilities in Australia and New Zealand, and I haven't been to a lot, but I've been to a few, I find the staff who are working in this arena excellent. I find them helpful towards these people who are in their care at the moment. I feel that the ones that I have had dealings with anyway, are so willing to look at what could help. And I think that's admirable, because I don't think it's a really hopeful environment at times. I'm sure that people, if they've got long sentences, just feel, how can I move forward? But if you've got good staff, that is my experience, I often come out of the prisons that I go into and I always say, I think our taxpayers' money in that particular prison is well spent. As I said, I haven't been everywhere, but that's just my experience in New Zealand and my experience in Australia to date. So I'm very hopeful.
So with the inner peace program, or the peace program, is there a minimum or maximum time that people can get the learnings, or is it something that you would take on in life and it would be an ongoing thing?
Well, I've been listening about this kind of subject now for 30 years myself, in fact 35 years myself, and I think the more you listen, the more conscious you are of a different way to live your life. So we've now got 30 hours of listening for people who are interested in listening about this topic. We've got Peace Education Program 1, 2 and 3. Same themes, just different talks. And so people have the opportunity to do a lot of listening about this particular topic. Firstly, if they need to start in a correctional facilities, but when they also leave, there is that opportunity to listen more. And when I was out at one of the prisons last Friday and I was just sitting in on the Peace Education Program class and listening to the topic, I just thought, wow, by the end of that session, that hour, just sitting there with those other inmates, I thought I really benefited from just that simple message. So I don't think you can listen enough about things that affect your daily approach to life. I think it's a lifetime's work.
Yeah, beautiful. I love it. I'd love to see some of the learnings myself, actually. So what about the teacher's guide? Now, how can people, once that launches, how can teachers or how can people get access to that?
So we're going to make it available as a little pack through Studio View Productions, the same organisation that launched the movie tomorrow night. And we'll have them with the pack. There'll be the teacher's guide with the lesson plans and the backup resources and materials, and the DVD. And we've got some people already who want to pilot that for us. I had a message yesterday from a police officer in Tully who said he's still keen to pilot the program here in Queensland. So I think we're going to have a lot of people in schools who say, let's give it a go. It'll be a really interesting way to look at this topic in a different way.
Fantastic. And what sort of future goals would you like for the PEACE program? How big would you like to see it get?
Well, I'd like it to be available in I'd like the movie and the teacher's guide to be available in every school as a resource that you could use in English or social studies, or a whole variety of, there's justice studies, in legal studies in schools. I'd like the teacher's guide to be available to all teachers. And I'd like the PEACE education program to be available to all correctional facilities across New Zealand, Australia and Fiji. So that's what I'm working on at the moment. I'm going to Fiji in a couple of weeks, and I'm hoping to meet with the head of rehabilitation in Fiji. They've got 18 prisons, I believe, around 18 prisons. I'd like it to be available there. I'd like it to be available to all our programs, all our prisons here in Australia and New Zealand, and to anybody who's interested in this type of inner education. I'd like it to be available to everybody. The interesting thing is, the development of the program was funded by donations. So the Primrose Foundation is funded by donations from people who support this kind of education. So it's inexpensive. It really, to get a kit, I believe it's maybe $110 US. And that's just really the cost of production of those DVDs. So it is available to everybody. And we're also doing these PEACE education program briefings around the country for anybody who wants to come and be able to look at the program in more detail and look at how that they might use it in their work. So my aim is for it to be available, I guess, in the region that I work in, which is the South Pacific, very widely. And that is my joy to be able to make that possible.
Absolutely fantastic. And there's a whole lot of volunteers also that have been working behind the scenes, yes, as well as people donating their time. That's absolutely fantastic community effort, and I can't wait to see the movie. We do need to wrap up soon. Yes. Now, it's all on tomorrow. The Queensland launch tomorrow at the Gold Coast Arts Centre at 6:15 to 6:30 p.m. start. The documentary goes for an hour, and then the panel will go for about half an hour after that. Any other final words before we wrap up, and how can people get in touch with you and get a hold of this program down the track?
So come to the movie. If there's a few seats, come to the PEACE education program briefing, which I believe is on Wednesday the 2nd of August, and that's in Helensvale for Brisbane, Queensland people. And just get in contact with me anytime that you'd like to in some way work with this program or even view some of this program. Happy to sit down with anybody who's interested in this kind of education. I think it's part of personal development, and it's part of educating the whole person.
Fantastic. And of course you're on LinkedIn, so people can look you up on LinkedIn as well. Yes. That's great. Excellent work that you've done, Catherine, and I can't wait to see the documentary, as I say. And for people that want to just turn up and get tickets at the door, there may not be any available. I know there's only around 20 or so left for sale. So I suggest if you are keen to come along, then call the box office at the Gold Coast Arts Centre, or just look up Inside PEACE Arts Centre and get your tickets before the night, because there may not be any left at the door by tomorrow night, the way tickets are selling. And I know there's a lot of people very excited about it. So thank you so much for your time, Catherine. Any final words before we wrap up?
Come along, see the movie, see what you think. Look forward to the whole evening tomorrow night. I think it's going to be huge.
Yes, it will be. Thank you so much. And thank you for watching. If you're watching this right now, really appreciate your time being with us. If you have any comments, feedback, suggestions, love to hear from you. Just pop it underneath this video wherever you're watching it. If you haven't subscribed to the Aldwyn Altuney channel on YouTube, please do so. Connect with me on all the social media channels and aaxpose.com. Love to connect with you, love to hear feedback, and wherever you are in the world, have a fantastic day. And here is to your inside peace. So all the best with the launch, Queensland launch tomorrow, and here's to a more peaceful world. Thank you, Catherine. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.